Welcome to the LA Business Podcast, your destination to hear stories of how businesses grow and scale. I'm Robert Brill, CEO of BrillMedia.co and the host of this podcast. Now, let's jump right into this week's interview. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Robert?
Good. Thanks for being with us.
Of
Welcome,
course.
everyone, to another episode of the LA Business Podcast. Today, our guest is Jacob Zander, who is the CEO and founder at FootSoles. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Yeah, so my story started when I was 20. I was just about to turn 21, and I had this idea. I was going to a private college. I didn't think I was really learning too much in school. And so I was like, I'm going to stop going to the private college here in Santa Barbara, and I'm going to take a couple classes at the city college and see if I can come up with some kind of idea, like in the meantime, while I'm kind of like in this in-between phase. And in that time period, I ended up taking a couple classes at the city college and figuring out this super cool idea that I had actually experienced like the problem of. And like growing up, I would always wear Converse, and I love the look of them. I love like the look and the feel and style of them, but the only thing I didn't like about them is like when I would wear them like to concerts or to Trader Joe's for like 8 hours, and then my feet would be like killing me after. And through that, I was like, maybe what if I started something where there was something like a specific like insole made like specifically for Converse, because I thought there would be like a cool little niche market there. Because when I was like looking on Google and stuff, I couldn't find anything made specifically for like Converse or Vans or anything along that nature. And so I combined that with I combined the need with like my passion of wanting to inspire people to like do what they love. Because while I was working at Trader Joe's, I noticed like there was a ton of people when I would like be at the checkout stand, and I just noticed they like didn't like their jobs, and I was like, dang, what if I could like do something where I was passionate about it and actually help inspire people with it. And so that's where it came along with the tagline, the Feel Your Soul tagline, which now is like the business name, which is crazy to see like the progression over the last like year and a half. But yeah, it's a little bit about myself. I'm 23 years old. The business has been growing exponentially in the past 2.5 months. So a year and a half in, and we're really seeing a ton of growth. It's crazy. I have like 10 to 15 employees now, and at the beginning of this year, I started with like one, just me.
Wow.
So yeah.
Let's talk about the business a little bit. So you manufacture these soles, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And with these soles, how do you manufacture soles? Like, how do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna make these? What was the learning curve on that?
Yeah. So personally, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know like how to make something that's actually comfortable and at the same time good for like your feet. And so I through the development phase, this was like 3 years ago, I found someone to help me with that. And while I would do the branding on top of that and design like the whole look and feel, but through that stage, there's the having someone design it for you, which is one part, and the other part of it is actually finding a manufacturer actually make it for you, which is really, I think it's the hardest part when you're just starting out, because you really don't know where to start. It's like super intimidating. You don't know how to it's interesting. Like, how do you get in contact with like a factory like overseas? Like, it's really challenging.
Sure.
But so the way I did it, I ended up Googling a bunch of manufacturers, and I emailed like 10, 15 of them. And I was like, I'm just going to email them, and I'm going to tell them I'm coming for a visit, and I'm just going to be really confident about it and just kind of go for it. And I ended up getting a response from one of the factories in Vietnam, and they're like, okay, yeah, you can come, and we'll show you around, and we'll see what ideas you have.
So you went to Vietnam?
I went to Vietnam when I was 21. I had someone show me around who was like, who was a family friend in the United States. Their brother lived in Vietnam, and so it was like a crazy like blessing that I could have someone who actually spoke Vietnamese to show me around.
Sure.
And so that was how I went out there. I got some prototypes, and then I thought I had like found a manufacturer when I was there, because I had got samples. We were kind of ready to like start like some kind of like some production. But then when I got back to the United States, I got this email, and they said they weren't going to work with me, or for like an undisclosed reason, which I later found out it was like because they had some contracts with like Converse and stuff. And so, but the blessing in disguise there is I found another manufacturer because of that manufacturer that is actually even better than them. So, which is really, really cool.
So how long did it take you to perfect the production?
So the coolest thing is the production was super. It was very seamless. So I was expecting I would have to go through a lot of sampling, but I really only went through. So what I had them do is we we have different foam combinations of like figuring out what is like the most comfortable for people. And so through that stage, so we made a bunch of samples and a bunch of different foam combinations, and we had like I think we had 8 different kinds of foam. And so when I got those here in California, I basically handed them out to all my friends, and I was like, oh man, I feel like people are gonna. I hope people's decisions aren't like all over the place because that's gonna be super hard to choose. And the crazy thing is, so what happened is like everyone chose like one specific one, and it like made it super easy to be like, okay, that's the one that we are gonna go with. So yeah,
Wow, that's really interesting. So you just
right.
went for it. You just were like, okay, I'm gonna unsolicited find a bunch of people who I've never spoken to in my life. I'm gonna see if they want to manufacture stuff. I'm gonna give the test product to my friends. We're gonna see if it works. And okay, so you identify the best sole, and then you start manufacturing. What kind of risk taking are you doing on this? Right, like what's your find? Not I don't need to know the details, but like how lean or how non-lean were you when you were developing this? Tell us about the risk component.
Yeah. So the risk component. I mean, the way I looked at it was so I was paying $30,000 to go to my private school up here in Santa Barbara, and I looked at it as like, okay, I'm either going to spend $30,000 going to school this next year, or I'm going to start the business out and take some loans out, have some like have a couple like I like extended relatives invest a little bit in, and so I basically came up with $30,000, and I it was either go to school for a year and learn that way, or start a business for a year and learn
Learn
through
that
like
way.
actual life experiences. Yeah, yeah.
So okay, so you have the product in house. You're taking some risk here, and at the end of the day, you're moving forward. What year was this? Was this 2018 when this all was happening?
This was
2017?
2019. Yeah, 2019.
Wow.
Last
Okay,
2019. Oh, this was. Oh no, this was 2018, and we launched in 2019. Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
So what are the milestones that you're hitting as you launch the business?
Yeah, so I'll take you through that. So the milestones was actually I'd say going from like development to actually launching. So it'd be like confirming the prototypes into the actual like products, and then getting those products in February and then launching in April. Those are like 3 big milestones of actually getting the first foundations pieces of it, and then launching was one, and then after that I would say there was a pretty big gap between like my next, I'd say like substantial milestone, and I'd say the next one was through from April to November. My next milestone would say I won another pitch competition for $10,000, and which was incredibly like it helped me so much because I was able to start like testing a little bit and actually have a little bit of a budget for like ad spend. And so I started running ads. This was last December for like Christmas stuff, and I started running ads on Facebook, and then like my sales jumped up tremendously. I was
Were
looking,
you running
but
the ads? Let's stop at that moment. Were you running
yeah,
the ads, or was
yeah.
someone else running them for you?
I was running the ads. I wasn't. The ads weren't The ads like were. I was basically breaking even, and I was kind of looking at it as like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to start. And then as like in like the next month, I'm going to be getting better at it. We're going to be learning because there's like the learning phase through ads, and through that started in December. December I was doing. December I had jumped up like 5 times what I was doing the previous months, and then January I was doing like a couple $1,000s more. February I was doing a couple thousand more than January, and I was seeing like I
You
was
talk
seeing
about
like
2020.
this is 2019 or 20. This is
2019.
20.
Got
Yeah,
it.
now we're in 2020. So 2019 December, 2020 in January, February. And it was growing, and then all of a sudden like COVID hit,
Wow.
and it just like dropped, and I was like, oh my gosh. And at that
So
time, Yeah,
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 tell us about your March. What does your March look like? What's happening with regards to COVID? Like, how are you
yeah,
feeling? Tell us about that.
yeah. So right before COVID hit, I was working at Trader Joe's, and on Valentine's Day I quit and put my 2 weeks in on. And my last day at Trader Joe's was on Valentine's Day because that was like my steady job for the past 4 years. And I was like, I got to make the leap, and so I made the leap to going full time. And then like 3 weeks later, COVID hit and my sales dropped. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And so I went through a time period where like sales were like very bare minimum. I stopped running my ads because they weren't really working as well. And then I was like, I need to figure I need to figure something out because what we're doing, like these ads aren't working. Like this, what I was doing just wasn't working anymore. And through that, I was and during this from January till May, I had been making TikToks for myself, just like personal TikToks, like basically like day in the lives, and they would incorporate my business and like how and just like my day to day like stuff I do, and my business would be in there, like Feel Your Soul would be in there because I that's just what I do on like every day. And so I was like, in May, I'm going to try something new and I'm going to start a TikTok account for Feel Your Soul. And so I did that. And and in May, I had taken all the stuff I learned in January to May on my personal account, and I made that and I implemented in and I put that into in the Feel Your Soul account in May. And my first video let's say I think it got like 700,000 views, and it was just explaining like how I package like an order, and it's like it's so wild to me. It's like 700,000 views for that. And then after that one, people were asking like what my product was because I didn't really say anything what it was, and so I said I'm gonna make like a description video and see and like basically explaining like how I came up with the foot soles idea and Feel Your Soul idea and go from there. And I made that video, and that video got like 2.1 million. And that was that was probably I'd say one of my biggest milestones so far because I was doing in the past like months I was like throughout the month it'd be like 100 like through those past like from January like the bigger months when I was running ads it'd be like a couple hundred orders. And then when I posted that TikTok in May, from that TikTok, I got 400 orders in like 2 to 3 days, like over the weekend.
So
And I was like,
2.1 million views and 400 orders.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's and that was just from like basically the first one. And through that, it's like it was insane because I had never experienced that before, and so I had to call a
In a
couple friends
weekend?
over.
Was this in a weekend or a couple days?
This was in a weekend. Yeah. It's super wild just making like a 30-second video just no money's going into it, just your time. and and that's like and so through that that was my milestone, getting like 400 orders in a weekend and having to call people over to help me pack them up. And I made a video about packing them up, and I posted that one, and then that one got 5.7 million. And now at this point, now the ball is like snowball effect's kind of kicking in, where it's just kind of like rolling and rolling and rolling. And so basically from May till July, I had this like snowball. And what that allowed me to do, it was what I really wanted to expand the brand into like other things. Because I noticed through my year of like running it that people loved the whole like Feel Your Soul, like the tagline Feel Your Soul. And so I was like, what if we swap the names? Originally it was called Foot Soles, and the tagline was Feel Your Soul. And now I was like, what if we in October of this year we swap the name to Feel Your Soul, and then have the Foot Soles be a product. And then I was like, what if we incorporate like a clothing line, like roller skates, and then basically like we can do anything we want from here. And so from that, in August, I made my first like hire my first hire outside of people shipping. And so that was my first hire of someone who was helping me with marketing and some operations. And yeah, that was a big milestone for me as well. And then from there, in October, we changed the name to Feel Your Soul. And then from October this year, October till now, it's been like the growth has been insane. I think we've been like doubling our sales have been doubling or tripling like since October. It's so wild. It's wild for me to think like what a year ago looked like for me compared to now.
What I'd like to do for everyone watching, I'd like to actually share my screen. I want to show your TikTok channel.
Cool.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
You see the TikTok channel?
It says page not available.
Yeah. It was just available a moment ago.
There we go.
So these are your TikToks.
Yes, these are the Theoresoul TikToks. Yeah.
Right. So I didn't mean to click on it. I didn't mean to override you, but what I think is interesting to me is like I want people to see what you're doing that makes these TikToks so interesting. What do you think is happening on these TikToks that you think is like the most interesting thing? Like why are you getting so much traction, yo?
I think, well, part of my hypothesis is because I think one of the things is like I'm really passionate about I'm really passionate about the Theoresoul message, and so I think it comes across on hopefully it comes across in my content, and where I'm really just trying to spread positivity and also inspire people to like do what they love. And so through that, that's been one of the biggest successes. We've introduced some text marketing as well, which has been really cool as well. And then I just think it's really, I love making videos so much that it's just like cool that it gets to be my job, and it gets to propel like my business. So that's the.
Can we watch? Which one?
Yeah.
I can't load more. I think there's something going on with my computer. But like, which one should I watch? Almost 1 million views.
That was our Black Friday one, and we got on Black Friday we had like 6,000 orders from that one, and overall we probably had like, I don't know, 10 to 12,000 from that one. It's insane.
Let's watch it.
Yeah.
A year ago, my life changed when I won a small business contest for $10,000. And now I want to pay it forward and give $10,000 back to one of you guys. This year allowed me to chase my dream of creating the coolest Theoresoul products for you guys. And with all you have done for me, I want to say thank you and pay it forward to give you a chance to follow your dream. All you have to do to enter to win the $10,000 is text Stay Rat to this number. And everyone who texts this number will also receive a free Theoresoul gift card ranging from $5 to $500. The winner will be announced on December 15th, and let's end 2020 on a high note by changing someone's life. A year ago, my life changed when I won a small business.
So let's break down the elements of that TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the music. Is that music? I mean, that's music from TikTok. That's great.
I usually put that. I love Harry Styles, and I think it's really. And so I usually use Harry Styles songs in my videos. That's just me. It kind of depends on like your vibe of yourself. Yeah.
You're giving something away here, which is definitely interesting, but I definitely agree it's not the most compelling thing that you're doing. What's compelling is that your vibe, your energy is good. It's like,
thank you.
It's real, it's honest, it's authentic, and it like allows people to feel just to get like you're a good human being. It's who you are, right? Like you can't fake it.
I'm trying to. Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah.
I love that, man. That's really cool.
Thank you.
So I guess my question is like, what are, in terms of the common threads of what you're doing on TikTok, you're showing the entrepreneurial side of who you are and what you're developing. I imagine that's a big part of it. You're keeping people informed about the work that you're doing. You're communicating about your brand. I'm stop screen sharing here. But like, how often do you create TikToks? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I'm right now in the process of hiring someone. My accountant is actually going to become full-time to be the COO and then CFO to help with that position of the operational side, because I've been trying to create as like many TikToks as I can, but now the operational side is kind of since things are growing so fast, that's taking more time. And so starting January, he's going to be full-time. But yeah, so I would say we shoot for like 3 times a week. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2. But the more TikToks we can do, the more TikToks we make, the more like sales we get. And so starting in 2020, I think it's so much fun making TikToks and videos and YouTube videos. But yeah, that's kind of the that we're doing about I'd say 2 to 3 a week.
Are you boosting those? Are you running ads against those?
Yeah, so we just started trying that. We aren't we're still we started running ads on one of them, but we're not doing it from our account because we want our account to be like still classified as like a creator account. And so we don't have any. I don't have any real hard like data from that yet. So we're still testing it.
I mean, it's easily trackable, right? You run ads, you place a pixel, and
Our pixel hasn't been working. So we've been running ads, and our pixel we emailed support, and so we're working on our pixel right now. So that's why we kind of had it on pause to see it, so we can make sure to see what we're like actually how it's actually working. So it's interesting, huh?
if you want, I can take a look at it. We have a couple TikTok campaigns running, so we really focus on the technical side of it, not the creative side of TikTok specifically. Maybe there's.
I would love that.
Yeah, I just implemented TikTok pixels yesterday.
Oh, amazing!
They had a version 1 of the pixels, right? And then there's a version 2. So I don't know. What I like about TikTok, which is great, it looks a lot like the Facebook's business manager setup. Like it's so best practice there. Have you done anything on Facebook?
That was what I was running. Beginning of end of last year was Facebook and Instagram.
That's right.
Ads.
And you were breaking even.
I was about breaking even. Yeah. I personally am not. My time is pulled in so many different directions. I wasn't able to dedicate all the time that I could running Facebook and Instagram ads. But I'm sure I believe we can do better at that. Right now we're focusing on. I mean, our goal is to be like the biggest brand on TikTok, and so that's kind of where we're hitting all of our influencer marketing and that kind of our ads, and basically trying to build on that basis, and then kind of diversify once we kind of like, because we're so small, we only have so many resources right now, so trying to use them really wisely.
How are you what roles are you hiring for, or have you hired for over the last year?
Yeah, so the roles I have. So I have a manager who manages our shipping team. Shipping team, there's about 10 people right now, and there's one manager for the 10 people. And then from there, we have the person who I hired in August, who's a part of the marketing team and marketing alongside for like bringing in TikTok ideas, our text marketing, our email marketing. It's like a marketing director. And then we have my accountant, who has been my accountant since July. And he's loved everything I've been doing so far. And so he's like, how can I get more involved? And I was actually thinking the same thing, because he's incredible. So he's going to be starting in January as a CFO/COO. And then we have me, and who's been doing playing a lot of different hats. And so now I'm in the process of kind of delegating, since we've been growing a lot and recently. So yeah.
And it sounds like your sweet spot, or your zone of genius, is kind of leading the organization and marketing.
Yeah.
Right? The creative side of marketing, probably.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I like. I like designing. I like creative, the brand feel, how it feels, how everything comes across. TikToks, filming. That's what I like to do a lot. Mm-hmm.
How much time all in do you put on your average TikTok?
Ooh, that's yeah. So there's a lot of thought that goes into them. So it comes from the idea to filming, to editing, and then doing the voiceover for them and writing the script. It really depends. So I mean, I'll use the one on the one you played, the Black Friday one, the $10,000 giveaway one. So that one came up. I was brainstorming with Zach. We were thinking like, we wanted to do cool, like we were trying to think of just TikTok ideas, and then we were like, what if, like, since I had won the year before in last November, I had won $10,000, and I was like, what if we made a TikTok about giving $10,000 away, and then it can like help someone else's dream with like what they're doing. And I was like, wow, that's such a cool idea, because like it's so true to me, and it's so true to the brand. I thought it'd be so cool. And so basically we came up with the idea, And then from there, I started filming it. And then from that, I went into editing, and I was actually editing on Thanksgiving because sometimes things take a little bit longer than you think. But I would say from those 3 steps, it probably takes me like, depending on the TikTok, about 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours. But then there's also the outlier where I just I just made a TikTok. That's the next one that I'm about to post about basically an orders video. It took me about maybe 2 hours. And so there's that too. So it kind of depends on like your idea. Sometimes really good ideas don't take super long, but the really, really creative ones with scripts definitely take a lot longer. But they can be worth your time for sure.
Well, I mean, I think that's the fundamental issue, right? Like creating good content takes time. It takes editing, it takes revision, it takes iteration. And I think it's just like any practice. Like you've got to have an opportunity to like really dive into it and learn and make mistakes and become smarter about something over time. And I think some of it just comes naturally to some people. But I can tell you, when I make TikToks, I spend 10 minutes on it, and that's why I have 157 followers on TikTok. So that's cool. But I'm also substantially older than you. I'm 39 years old, and so I also think there's, the last podcast we spoke to someone really interesting. It was like, there are people who have the desire to do something but don't have the innate skills to make it happen. I think you have the benefit of growing up at a time when TikTok is like, it fits with who you're a man of the time, right? You know how to wield the tools of your time. I want to know how to wield TikTok, but I also I'm not devoting the effort to it.
It's definitely tapping into, you got to figure out, what I've learned is you got to figure out what strength you have, like in whatever area it is. And so like, not necessarily like, basically how you can use, because I have seen a lot of older people on TikTok that are getting like millions of views.
Who do well.
And you just kind of you got to figure out your edge. And that's what I'm trying to tap into, is like, I want to create content that like, I want to inspire people. And so I thought, like, how can I inspire people? And I took I love how Nike brands themselves, so like being inspirational, like their ads are all focused around motivation. I kind of want to take it a step further and give people like something that they can actually see, because reality is always better than than talking. So like, if people can see me doing it, they know it's possible. Whereas if people like hear me talking about it, it's less real. And they're like, oh, it's kind of like a celebrity. Like, celebrities are just people. But looking up at them, it seems like they're like a god. And so I can bring my
but I think there's the old type of celebrity and the new type of celebrity, right?
Yeah,
the old
exactly.
type of celebrity is like Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, and you don't actually know what's going on with them. And you don't know what's in their mind. And then there is the influencer celebrity, who is actually an authentic representation of who they are, or a slightly modified version.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm comparing it as. Yeah, it's like the old time celebrity, where it's kind of like, I want to give something people that they can. I want to actually help people, and so that's where I kind of try and bring in my brand. So that's helping people.
Entrepreneurship in general is an expression of who you are, right? All the work that you do, the culture that you build, all that stuff is like, it's a direct expression of the entrepreneur. So tell us about the Smile Fund initiative.
Yeah. So the Smile Fund, that's where actually the $10,000 video idea came from, because we thought we were thinking like, how can we give back at this time, in these times of like all the hardship that people have been brought, and like, how can we use like our brand to like help people out, help people like spread a light, even if you're spread a light in like with all of our content. And so what we did was, we thought like, what if we give a portion back from our our profit, or our revenue / profits, and like do like good in the community. And instead of donating it to like a charity or something, like, what if we use that to like give back to like people like who are actually in our community, like the hard workers, the essential workers, And what if we like go that route? And so we decided to bring in the Smile Fund, where we take like a portion of our profits and go give it back to the community and make videos about it. And so we started doing the Smile videos, which is where the $10,000 video came from. And basically from that's been what is really cool, because it helping people spread positivity by people watching our content and seeing there's good being done, and then also helping the person that's actually getting it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And so how old is the Smile Fund? It's a couple months old now?
Yeah, I'd say it's we really started, I mean, I guess the first Smile Fund video was on Black Friday. So it's basically pretty brand new. So, which is super cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any plans to go back to school? Or are you kind of like, are you busy with something right now?
You know, I am so busy with Feel Your Soul. Like, I have no plans. I don't think I have ever plans to ever go back to school, because I've learned so much more just doing what I've been doing than actually going to school. There are definitely things that I could be better at, like not numbers wise, like on the actual business side, but that's not really the side I love. I love the creative aspect, the vision, the visionary part of it. Yeah, Feel Your Soul. I'm up to like 3 a.m. a ton of times, 4 a.m, get up at 8. But yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot to be done, and a lot of people to inspire. So
how do you navigate this? Because you said you're 22 right now.
I'm 23 now.
You're 23. So at 23 years old, like, I was not to be trusted at 23 years old. The fact that people trusted me when I was 23 is questionable at best. So I guess my question is, how do you navigate all this?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make decisions? Who do you turn to? What do you pay attention to? I mean, this doesn't all live innately. The creativity lives innately, the energy lives innately, but the business decisions are not an innate thing for anyone.
I know. Yeah, that is definitely a part that's really challenging, because I don't have all the experience I have is just from the past year, just doing what I've been doing. So I don't really have too much experience there, but it's really about trying to figure out what the next step is. And so I do a ton of brainstorming with my parents, because they've been through a lot as well. Trying to make business decisions there, doing forecasting. Forecasting is super tough, because you have months where, like, previous months we're doing this, and now we're doing doing this, and now we're doing like this. And so it's like, now we're trying to really figure out, okay, how much are we now we're actually having to make really big decisions on like capital funding. And I talked to a lot of mentors about this. My accountant Mateo, he's the one who I'm bringing on as a CFO/COO. I give him a lot of calls because he has his MBA in business, and the funny thing is he was in one of the classes I was in at the private school I was at, and he was the best in the class, and it was a corporate finance class, and I was the one who failed that one. And so he's the one who I've been turning to a lot of thinking, like, is this smart? Is this not smart? But yeah, it's a lot of trial and error too. So that's kind of how I've been operating, just learning, did this work, did that not work? But yeah.
One of the things that I realized in a moment of stress is that the bets are the same. The risk is always the same. You're just making bigger bets.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, for me, it was when I hired our first full-time employee, I was like, oh man, I don't know if we can afford it, etc. And by the time that young woman left, we had 5 people on board. So there's a moment of quick growth there. And the numbers get bigger. The bet is exactly the same. Like, you've got to take more risk and do it in a calculated way and make sure you don't mess it up, because a lot of people are counting on you, your employees, your customers, your community. Like, how do you handle, like, do you have a risk? Like, how do you handle risk? Does it just wash off of you? Like, tell me about that.
Risk. I'm pretty like, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, we're going to figure it out. And so it's really alongside of we do like calculations, like basically like influencer promos. We do like hypotheses and how much we think the sale is going to bring in. But right now, the funny thing is, my accountant and my marketing director, we were all talking about it. We're like, this is just kind of like, this whole year's been kind of an experiment to see like what happens. And next year we'll have a little better idea of like how things work. And so it's kind of been just like an experiment on how, since I'm so young, I don't have too much experience. So this is like, we're just learning so much like every day, and how to like, I'm learning how to run things, how to manage people, how to be like a good leader. But yeah, it's challenging, but I like challenging things. So
what are your key initiatives for 2021?
Key initiatives for 2021. Yeah. So we got a spring clothing line coming up. We introduced Converse roller skates for a special Christmas thing. In the spring, we're going to bring them back with a special way to a special, like a more branded feel. We're going to manufacture some more parts for that. And then following that, that's what we're working on right now, actually. So yeah, 2021. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, very cool. I think as we wrap this up, I just want to say, Jacob, thank you so much. This was really informative. Congrats on all your success and the TikToks. I love that.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Jacob Zander, founder at Footsoles. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you for listening to this episode of the LA Business Podcast. If you like what we're doing on this podcast, please consider subscribing on Apple or Google Play, leaving a 5-star review, and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations for a guest you'd like to hear on this podcast, please email me, robert@brillmedia.co. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.